Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa alihi at-tahirin. Wa salamu taslima. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Today we are going to begin our lessons on comparative religion. So this course is entitled A Study of Religions, which is a comparative analysis of major world religions with Islam. So in this course, we are going to be basing it off of work that I'm writing called The Traces of Deen. Deen means religion. And we'll have a look at religious tolerance, what the definition of religion is, and what religion means in Islam, and whether there is religious tolerance in Islam. And then we will start to discuss after some topics like types of religion and the history of religion and the benefits of religion and so on, and all the sub topics that we will need, inshallah, to discuss these areas and pertaining to these areas that we can. Then we'll start to discuss world religions, and we're going to talk about some of the major world religions. We're going to talk about and have a comparative analysis with common points and differences between Islam and some of the major world religions. So we will start with Zoroastrianism. We will learn about Zoroastrianism, which is a very old religion from Persia, or Persian origins. And then we'll talk about Hinduism, which is another very old religion from India area, and we'll talk about all these and their origins and such, inshallah. And then we'll talk about Judaism, which is the religion of the children of Israel. And then we'll talk about Christianity, and maybe, if we're able, we'll talk about Taoism and Buddhism. Inshallah. So, we wanted to begin a little bit on discussing what the definition of religion is. And we're going to probably take about 2 lessons discussing what the definition of religion is. So, we are going to ask a question. What is religion? What is religion? This is a rhetorical question because I am going to answer this question. But this is our question for our first lesson or 2 that we must keep in mind. What is religion? And we want to answer what religion is. The word religion is an English word, which is from Middle English, religion, which has an old French origin. So this word religion is an old French word. This old French word, religion, stems from a Latin word. The Latin word is religio, religio. Latin is the old language, or the language which the church used in the Middle Ages or medieval ages. Religio. So a lot of words in English, they come from Latin origins. So religio means conscientiousness or piety, and equivalents relig, which are to tie or to fasten, or religare, which is to bind or to tie. Therefore, simply put, we may say that the opinion that we side with is that the word religion comes from a Latin origin, which gives the meaning of to tie or to bind. So religion is to tie or to bind. However, scholars in the world have disagreed on what the meaning of religion actually is. So not only do they disagree about what the origin of the word religion is, because there are different opinions of what the origin is, some ascribing it to obedience to deity, etc., and or to bind or to tie or to reconnect. But not only that do they disagree about the origin of the word, but they disagree about the meaning of the word. So, as you'll remember in logic, we talked about how words can be transferred from a similar meaning to a newer meaning, or dropped altogether to old meaning without any common points, as you'll remember from your logic lessons. So this is what we need to look at. This is what they look at. What happened to the word religion? What did it have and what was its first meaning? We don't have these problems per se when we come to the Islamic side, but this we're looking at from an Occidental side. We're looking at the word in the Occident, the word in Europe, in the European languages. So this word to tie or to bind is similar to the word aql, which means intellect in Arabic. Aql is to bind together, to bind, literally. But it means intellect. So, the scholars of the West, they disagreed on what the meaning actually is of the word religion. In this sense, we see people like Tom Harper and Joseph Campbell sided with a derivative to bind or to connect. So Tom Harper and Joseph Campbell sided with a derivative, a derivation of the word religion, which means to bind or to connect. And then we find that the famous American psychologist and believed William James, the famous American psychologist William James, in the early 1900s, he is very well known for his work on the spiritual experiences, and he has a book where he analyzed the spiritual experiences. So he believed that the very fact, this is quoting him, he said that the very fact that they are so many religions, he means, and so different from one another, is enough to prove that the word religion cannot stand for a single principle or essence, but is rather a collective name. So he believed that religion is something that is a collective name and gathers together all these things and doesn't stand for one single meaning. Whereas Alfred Whitehead believed that religion means religion is what an individual does with his solitariness. E.B. Tyler believed that religion was only belief in spiritual things, metaphysical things, non-material things, spiritual things. We may ask E.B. Tyler, does religion have anything to do with the material things? Of course religion has things to do with the material things as well. So religion cannot be just belief in spiritual things. It has to be something more. Hence it is appropriate that we list some of the ideas that these scholars considered religion to be as follows. So now we are going to give an overview of the many different definitions that these scholars have considered the word religion to mean. Some have defined religion as the human search for the ultimate reality, or the quest for the values of ideal life and the means of achieving those values. This definition includes a worldview that corresponds to that very quest. People such as Robert Bellah have defined religion as a set of symbolic forms and acts which relate man to the ultimate condition of his existence. Others have defined it as God's relation to humanity and the universe, which consists of a specific system of belief in God and doctrines, while others define religion as a set of rituals which transform the state of man. Such rituals have a supernatural or spiritual, non-physical power behind them that brings about transformation. A German theologian and biblical scholar defined religion as a taste of the infinite, or rather a feeling of absolute dependence. Some define religion as an exploration or self-discovery. So a biblical scholar is a scholar of the Bible. Like we may say a Christian scholar is a biblical scholar. Somebody who's very much involved his life into study of the Bible. And the Bible has two parts in the Christian world. One is called Tanakh, which is translated into English as Old Testament. This Tanakh is the Jewish books and consists of what is considered now as Torah and some history books, such as the books of Kings, and some books of prophets, and the book of Psalms and Proverbs. Psalms and we have Zabur was given to Prophet Dawood, but the book of Psalms in the Bible here has some from Prophet Dawood and some from others. So at least that's how it says in there. So the Bible to the Occidental Christian world consists of this part, which is part 1, Tanakh, Old Testament, and part 2, which is called New Testament. New Testament consists of 4 accounts written much later about Prophet Jesus, about his mission and his words and his life. And we'll get to discussing about all these a little later. But but these were written down later, and then the original copies were lost, and the oldest copies that we have date at least over 60 years after the approximate Christian dating for Jesus, alayhi salam. But it consists of 4 books of these. There are 4 books, which we'll discuss, and the works of Paul, which are many letters. And at the end, it has a book of Revelations about the end times, which is very metaphorical or symbolic and hard to interpret. So this is what's known as Bible. These 2 books, this is called Bible. And there are different types of Bible, such as the Catholic Bible, which has some more books in it. Like they have the Book of Maccabees, and they have a Gospel of Peter, which are not in the King James non-Catholic version of the New Testament. So Jewish people, they don't have this part here. So they don't use Bible per se. Christians have this thing called Bible, which has all these together. Jewish people have Tanakh, and then they have another set of books called Talmud, which are many volumes. But we'll discuss all these things when we have more time, but just to give an overview of these books. And there's lots of books that they've cast out, but we'll talk about all these more a little later. So, we said Alfred Whitehead has defined religion as what an individual does with his solitariness. Paul Tillich has called religion a person's ultimate concern. Then we have a more social concern definition, such as religion is a system of beliefs and practices directed towards ultimate concern of society. Another definition is personalized set of beliefs, institutionalized set of beliefs, and practices that pertain to supernatural, non-physical things. Some believe that religion is belief in the invisible superhuman power, together with feelings and practices that result and flow from those beliefs. Yet another definition is humans' encounter with what is authentically real and unconditionally important. The seeking of divine truth and who we are, why we exist, and how we should live are also among these many definitions, or the ways of interpreting life and the methods of living life. Some others have defined religion as a belief about reality and living according to that reality, or the ultimate sense that people give to their existence, the search for the more of life, which entails questioning and seeking the truth, the betterment of yourself and the world you live in, and a set of beliefs and practices designed to improve the nature of oneself. And some have said it is a means of ultimate transformation, or a way to understand the experience called life. Some other definitions besides the ones mentioned above are that religion is the journey of life where the individual attempts to achieve the highest good by adjusting their lives to the strongest power in the universe. Or religion is a set of beliefs and practices which serve to subordinate something superior or holy to justify events that control our lives. And lastly, a person's journey within themselves and within society on a search for truth, love, community, and holy connection. However, we must note that all these scholars have not presented the Islamic understanding of religion. So what is the Islamic definition of religion? We're still asking that question that we asked in the beginning of the lesson. What is religion? We find that the word religion used in the Holy Quran is the word deen. Deen in Arabic is spelled like this. Deen. Deen means subjugation, obedience, and recompense. Deen means subjugation, obedience, and recompense. So subjugation is like when there's domination over something, control over something. Obedience is when you obey, listen to, follow through with what the commands are given to you. And recompense is when you're given something back in return, or given something for something you've done, per se. So the Arabic word is used in several different manners, such as in Surah Kafirun, towards the pagan Arabs of Jahiliyyah. In Surah Kafirun, we find that the word is used, Lakum dinukum waliya din. Lakum dinukum waliya din. To you be your religion, and to me my deen, my religion. So we find that in the lexical understanding of the word, it is being used for people who had or mixed beliefs, admixtures. And in Surah Ali Imran, verse 24, which was revealed about Judaism, which is one of the Ahlul Kitab, because Ahlul Kitab are the people of the book, and they are the Zoroastrians, the Jewish people, and Christians, and the Christians. These are Ahlul Kitab, people of the book, which we'll talk about later, inshallah. But this verse in Surah Ali Imran, verse 24, ayat 24 of the Holy Quran, says, have you not considered those who were given a portion of the book? They are invited to the people, they are invited to the book of Allah. They are invited to the book of Allah. Have you not considered those who have been given a portion of book? The portion of the book. They are invited to the book of Allah that it might decide between them. Then a part of them turned back and they withdraw. So it's this verse. This is ayat number 23 of Surah Ali Imran. Have you not considered those who are given a portion of the book? They are invited to the book of Allah, that it might decide between them. Then a part of them turn back and they withdraw. Then Surah 24 of Surah Ali Imran. This is because they say, the fire shall not touch us but for a few days. And what they have forged deceives them in the matter of their deen, in the matter of their religion. Dinihim, their deen. So what they have forged, the falsity that they have forged, deceives them in their religion, in their deen. So we see that this word deen is used here for Ahlul Kitab. So Ahlul Kitab have deen. The polytheists of Arabia have a deen. we see in this usage of the lexical meaning of the word. Then we find the word deen is used in Islam as well in Surah Ma'idah, verse number 3, ayat number 3. We won't say the whole verse because it is quite long, but we'll quote the pertinent section. This day have those who disbelieved despaired of your religion. So fear them not and fear me. This day I have perfected for you your religion and completed my favor on you and chosen for you Islam as your religion, as a religion. Islam as a religion. But whosoever is compelled by hunger and not inclined, and this is the goes back into outside of the what we want to focus on here, because this is another discussion about the meanings besides this in this verse. But we find that it says in this ayat, Al-Yawm Akamaltu, this day, today, I have completed, I have perfected, this day I have perfected, Lakum, for you, Dinukum, your deen. And Lakum, and for you, Al-Islam Dina, Islam as religion, as a deen. So Islam is a deen now. So now we have the word deen is being used for Islam. Therefore, we find that the usage of the word deen is for 3 types of religion mentioned in the Quranic text. We shall discuss these 3 types a little later, inshallah. But for now, it suffices to mention that they are religion of falsehood, religion of admixture, and religion of truth. This may be a reason. This may be a reason amongst some other reasons we will discuss later, why Islam has religious tolerance. So we're going to discuss more about this in our next week. But now we brought out the lexical meaning, which is the word meaning of the word deen and its usage in the Quran in the Arabic language. And in our next lesson, we are going to talk again a little bit more about this lexical meaning and its implications, possible implications, and we are going to discuss its technical meaning of the word religion in Islam. So this is our lesson for today. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.